Do you believe that by October, your gardening tools should be tucked away until spring? What if I told you that right now, amidst the falling leaves and crisp air, you have a unique opportunity to lay the groundwork for the most vibrant and bountiful blooms you've ever seen? Many gardeners make the same mistake. They put off all the hard work until spring, then frantically try to catch up. Today, we're going to debunk that myth. I'll show you my top 5 magnificent perennials that you don't just can plant, but should plant this October. Stay with me and you'll discover how to transform fall gardening into your secret superpower, giving you an incredible, almost effortless garden next spring. Ready to learn how to outsmart nature and gain a head start? Let's dive in. Before we dive into our fantastic list, let's explore why October is such a magical time for gardeners. What's the secret? It all comes down to the perfect balance. The soil hasn't frozen yet and still retains some of summer's warmth. At the same time, the air is cool enough that it doesn't encourage above-ground growth. This creates ideal conditions for root development. A perennial planted in October doesn't waste energy on leaves and flowers. Instead, it directs all its efforts into establishing itself, getting comfortable in its new home, and growing strong roots before the real frost set in. For bulbs like tulips and daffodils, this period of cold, known as stratification, is absolutely crucial. Without it, they simply won't bloom in spring. So, when we plant flowers in the fall, we're not just getting ahead of the game, we're working in harmony with nature's cycles, giving our plants exactly what they need for a healthy start and a future triumphant bloom. First up, the undisputed royalty of the garden, a flower that can thrive in one spot for decades, growing more magnificent and opulent with each passing year. We're talking, of course, about peonies. October is absolutely the perfect time for planting and transplanting these beauties. Planting them in spring, however, can be incredibly stressful, often leaving them weakened and reluctant to flower for an extended period. An autumn planting, on the other hand, allows the peony division to calmly establish its roots and prepare for its grand spring debut. Picture this: massive, fragrant blooms in every delicate shade, from pristine white to rich, deep burgundy, gracing your garden in early summer. Plant a peony just once, and you'll ensure your garden's beauty for years and years to come. It's not just a flower, it's a living legacy, a true family heirloom that will bring joy not only to you, but to your children and even your grandchildren. Now let's bust the biggest myth that scares off so many beginner gardeners. Many believe peonies are incredibly finicky and require complex, demanding care. That couldn't be further from the truth. Peonies have just one but extremely crucial requirement: the correct planting depth. This single factor accounts for 90% of your success. The secret is simple. The eyes, or renewal buds, on the peony rhizome should be no deeper than 3 to 5 centimetres, or about 1 to 2 inches, below the soil surface. If you plant them too deep, your peony will produce beautiful foliage but most likely won't bloom. Plant them too shallow, and the buds might freeze in winter. Picture it like this: you're preparing a throne for a king, not burying him deep in a dungeon. Locate the pinkish or whitish eyes or noses on the rhizome. Those are the buds. Position them so there's literally just about 2 finger widths of soil covering them. Follow this simple rule and you'll be rewarded with magnificent blooms for many years to come. So, what's the secret to preparing the perfect home for our magnificent peonies? Peonies adore sunshine and absolutely despise standing water. Pick the sunniest location in your garden, one that receives at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. The planting hole needs meticulous preparation, as your peony will call this home for decades to come. Dig a generous hole, roughly 60 by 60 centimetres, or about 2 feet by 2 feet. If you have heavy or clay soil, consider adding a thin layer of drainage material to the bottom, like broken terracotta pots or coarse gravel. Next, backfill the hole with a rich, nutritious blend. Combine your garden soil with plenty of well-rotted compost or aged manure. Then mix in about a cup of wood ash and a handful of superphosphate. Mix everything thoroughly and allow the soil to settle for a short while. When planting, gently spread the peonies' roots over a small mound of soil in the centre of the hole. Be very careful to position the crown, or eyes, at just the right depth, usually no more than 1 to 2 inches below the soil surface. Then backfill with the remaining soil, gently firm it down, and water thoroughly. Voila! Your regal guest has been given a truly royal welcome. Choosing the right peonies can seem daunting with such a vast array available. Herbaceous, tree, and Ito intersectional hybrids, which are a cross between the first two types. For newcomers, herbaceous peonies are often the best starting point. They're the least demanding and incredibly popular. Timeless classics like Sarah Bernhardt, with her fragrant soft pink blooms, or Festiva Maxima, featuring pristine white petals kissed with crimson flecks, are always stunning choices. After planting in October, make sure to mulch the planting site with a 2 to 3 inch layer of peat or compost. This provides essential winter protection and helps the soil retain moisture. Don't anticipate a profusion of blooms in the first year. Your plant needs time to settle in and establish itself. However, by the second or third year, your peony will truly come into its own, showcasing its full splendour, and you'll realise all that autumn effort was incredibly worthwhile. It's undoubtedly one of the most rewarding investments you can make for the enduring beauty of your garden. Next up on our list. This flower is the undisputed quintessential symbol of spring. When we envision a spring garden, what comes to mind first are these elegant, vibrant, and incredibly diverse tulips. For these beauties, October isn't just a good time to plant. It's the crucial, indeed, the only window for success. It's during this cool period in the soil that the tulip bulb gets the essential chilling it needs to burst forth with a magnificent flower stalk in spring. The sheer variety of tulips is astounding, from classic single and lush double varieties to intricate fringed and elegant lily-flowered types. Don't forget the flamboyant parrot tulips with their whimsical petals, or the sophisticated Greg's tulips, admired for their stunning decorative foliage. By planting a mix of different varieties this fall, you can orchestrate a true symphony of colour that will grace your garden from April right through to early summer. Let's talk about a game-changing secret for successful tulip planting that many gardeners overlook. That old rule you hear about planting bulbs 3 times their height. Forget about it. If you want your tulips to not just put on a show once, but to return vibrant and strong year after year, you need to plant them much deeper. For larger tulip bulbs, the ideal depth is 20 to 25 centimetres, or about 8 to 10 inches. You might ask, why so deep? Well, there are 3 fantastic reasons. Firstly, this extra depth provides a natural insulation layer, protecting your precious bulbs from harsh winter freezes. Secondly, at this depth, the main bulb is less prone to forming a multitude of small offsets or daughter bulbs. This means it conserves its energy, maintains its robust size, and channels all its resources into producing one magnificent show-stopping bloom, rather than getting smaller over time. And thirdly, it's an excellent defence against mice, voles, and other pesky rodents. They simply won't dig down that far. Think of it like burying a valuable treasure. The deeper you hide it, the safer and more secure it will be. Now, for the true flower aficionados, here's a technique called tulip lasagna, or layered planting. This method is perfect for containers or small garden beds, allowing you to achieve continuous blooms in a surprisingly small space. The concept is simple. You plant the bulbs in layers, just like assembling a lasagna. At the very bottom of your container or planting hole, place your late-blooming tulip varieties. Cover them with a layer of soil. Next, add the mid-season blooming varieties, followed by another layer of soil. And finally, on top, plant your early blooming varieties. Come spring, the magic truly begins. The early tulips are the first to emerge and bloom. As they fade, the mid-season varieties pick up where they left off. And finally, the late-blooming varieties conclude the magnificent display. The result? A single container or bed can bloom for over a month, constantly transforming its look. It's truly breathtaking. When selecting tulip bulbs, pay close attention. They should be firm and heavy, completely free of any spots, mold, or physical damage. The basal plate where the roots will emerge must be dry and firm. Also, check the protective outer tunic. It should be intact, as it safeguards the bulb. Before planting, it's highly beneficial to soak the bulbs for 30 minutes in a fungicide solution, for instance, a product like Maxim. This will eliminate any potential fungal spores and protect your plantings from diseases. This is especially crucial for preventing the tulip-breaking virus, which manifests as irregular streaks on the petals and is unfortunately incurable. A healthy bulb is the foundation for beautiful and healthy blooms. Don't skimp on your planting material. It's the cornerstone of your future floral splendor. Our next featured plant is a true gem for anyone seeking maximum beauty with minimal effort. It's the quintessential plant it and forget it flower. So, meet the magnificent daffodil. Bright, sunny, and utterly cheerful, its very presence is enough to banish those winter blues. But its greatest asset isn't just its beauty, it's its incredible hardiness and resilience. That's because daffodil bulbs contain alkaloids, making them poisonous to rodents. Mice, voles, and even moles steer clear of daffodils. So if your garden is plagued by these unwelcome guests, daffodils are your absolute best bet. Plant them in the fall, and you can be absolutely confident that come spring, you'll be greeted by a cheerful display of blossoms, not a landscape of unsightly, dug-up holes. How to achieve the most stunning display from your daffodils? There's one simple design trick. Never plant them individually, or in stiff, straight rows like soldiers on parade. That simply looks unnatural and, frankly, a bit dull. Daffodils truly shine when planted en masse, creating the beautiful illusion of a natural wild meadow. To achieve this enchanting effect, try what gardeners call the handful method. Simply take a handful of 5 to 7 bulbs and gently toss them onto the area where you envision your blooms. Then, plant each bulb precisely where it lands, some clustered more densely, others scattered more sparingly. This approach creates wonderfully picturesque, asymmetrical groupings that look entirely natural, as if Mother Nature herself arranged them. These organic clusters look particularly stunning beneath trees or dotted across a lawn. It's a simple yet effective way to infuse your garden with the charm of a wild, untouched meadow. Now, for the most crucial rule in daffodil care, one that, if broken, dooms more bulbs than all diseases and pests put together. Once your daffodils have finished blooming, under no circumstances should you cut back their leaves. I know how tempting it is to tidy up that wilting, messy foliage, but doing so is a strict no-go. Those leaves are absolutely vital. Through photosynthesis, they provide nourishment to the bulb, allowing it to store up energy for next year's spectacular display. If you snip them off too soon, you're essentially starving the bulb. It will weaken, diminish in size, and eventually, after a year or two, stop blooming altogether. Instead, wait patiently until the foliage has completely yellowed and naturally collapsed to the ground. Only then is it safe to remove. Remember, your patience in this crucial period is the secret to ensuring a magnificent, yearly burst of blooms. When we think of daffodils, the classic yellow bloom usually comes to mind, but the world of daffodils is far richer and more diverse than you might imagine. There are 13 distinct groups, and each one is unique. You'll find trumpet, large-cupped, and small-cupped varieties. There are also double daffodils, which look like miniature peonies. Then there are cyclamen flowered types, with their gracefully swept-back petals. And don't forget the split corona daffodils, which often resemble exotic orchids. And the colours! They're not just limited to classic yellows and whites. You'll discover stunning shades of pink, orange, apricot, and even some with a delicate greenish tint. If you plant a mix of these diverse groups in autumn, you'll be rewarded with an extended and truly dynamic blooming season, as different varieties blossom at varying times. So, don't be afraid to experiment and discover new facets of this seemingly familiar flower. Our next pick is an adorable little gem, capable of working real magic in your spring garden. Dreaming of creating the illusion of a blue river winding its way through your tulips and daffodils? Or perhaps a patch of sky blue nestled beneath a tree. Then muscari is your answer, commonly known as grape hyacinths. These miniature bulbs with their dense, grape-like clusters of blooms are incredibly charming and versatile. They are among the first to burst into flower and last for ages, creating a beautiful carpet beneath larger spring blooms. Their vibrant blue or sky blue hues beautifully contrast with yellow daffodils and red tulips, resulting in classic, foolproof colour combinations. Plant them in October, and you're guaranteed a spectacular show come spring. Muscari are the perfect companion and an excellent filler plant. A common challenge in spring gardens is that larger bulbs, like tulips, often leave the ground around their bases looking quite bare. Muscari offer the ideal solution. Plant them in a dense carpet around taller blooms, and they'll create a vibrant, flowering mulch that not only conceals the soil, but also gives the entire display a much more cohesive and polished look. They also excel as edging along pathways, in rock gardens, or planted around the base of trees. Their low-growth habit means they won't compete with other plants. Instead, they beautifully complement almost any spring bloomer. Imagine vibrant scarlet tulips emerging from a carpet of deep blue muscari. It's a truly breathtaking sight that will captivate anyone who sees it. Some gardeners worry that muscari can be aggressive, rapidly colonising areas, and proving hard to control. There's some truth to that. They do multiply readily, both by self-seeding and through producing new bulbets. But is that necessarily a bad thing? If you're aiming for a naturalised look, perhaps a carpet of blooms across your lawn, then this characteristic is actually a huge advantage. Simply let them grow freely, and in just a few years, you'll have a stunning sea of blue. On the other hand, if you prefer to keep them contained, perhaps in a formal border, it's also quite straightforward. Simply snip off the flower stalks immediately after they fade, preventing them from going to seed. Alternatively, every 3 to 4 years in late summer, you can dig up congested clumps, divide them, and replant them elsewhere. So, muscari's aggression is really more of a superpower, one that you can easily manage and even harness to your advantage. Planting muscari in October is one of the most enjoyable and straightforward gardening tasks. Their bulbs are tiny, so there's no need to dig deep holes. A depth of just 5 to 7 centimetres is perfectly sufficient. The key to an impressive muscari display is quantity. Here the rule, the more, the merrier, definitely applies. Don't plant them in small clusters of 3 to 5. That will look sparse and lonely. Instead, plant them in large groups of 20, 30 or even more to create a dense carpet of colour. You can also dig a small trench or a patch in your desired shape, scatter the bulbs along the bottom, and simply cover them with soil. This method is much faster than planting each bulb individually. Muscari are incredibly unfussy about soil and will thrive equally well in full sun or light partial shade. This makes them the perfect flower for beginners and for anyone who values their time. And finally, coming in at number 5 on our list, these are the very first, the bravest and the most anticipated harbingers of spring. Picture this, there might still be patches of snow on the ground, the earth is grey and lifeless, and suddenly, pushing through the frozen soil, bright, delicate flames appear. White, yellow, lilac. It's the crocuses! Their emergence is an undeniable sign that winter has been conquered and life is returning. Planting these tiny bulbs in October is like sending a letter to the future, a letter that will bring you the joyful news of spring's arrival before anyone else. Their bloom is fleeting, but the emotional boost they provide is immense. When you see the first crocuses, you just know spring has arrived. One of the most popular and stunning ways to enjoy crocuses is by planting them directly into your lawn. In spring, before your grass truly kicks into gear, your lawn transforms into a magical, flowering carpet. It's an absolutely breathtaking sight. To achieve this beautiful effect, you'll need to carefully cut out a small section of turf using a sharp knife or a hand trowel. Gently lift the sod, place a few crocus bulbs underneath, and then carefully lay the turf back down. Opt for species or botanical crocuses. They're naturally shorter and much better at naturalizing, meaning they'll spread and multiply over time. Now here's a crucial tip. Don't mow your lawn immediately after the crocuses finish blooming. Just like daffodils, their foliage needs to be allowed to fully die back. This typically takes around 6 weeks, so you'll have to delay your first lawn cut of the season. But trust me, the incredible display makes it absolutely worth it. Crocuses generally fall into 2 main categories: botanical or species crocuses and large-flowered Dutch hybrids. What's the difference? Botanical crocuses, such as Crocus thomasinianus, are smaller and more graceful. They're among the first to bloom and naturalize exceptionally well, spreading over time to form beautiful, expansive drifts. They're perfect for naturalizing in lawns or under trees. Large-flowered hybrids, as their name implies, boast larger, more showy blooms in vibrant colours. However, they tend to flower a bit later and don't spread quite as readily. They look fantastic at the front of flower beds, in rock gardens, or in containers. For maximum impact, it's best to plant both types. The botanical varieties will kick off the season, while the large-flowered ones will continue the vibrant display, making your spring garden even more spectacular. Crocuses have a slight problem. Their bulbs are a favourite treat for mice. It's incredibly disappointing to plant 100 bulbs in the fall, only to find not a single flower blooming in the spring. So how can you protect these precious treasures? Fortunately, there are a few effective methods. The most reliable method is to use special mesh planting baskets designed for bulbs. Simply plant your bulbs inside these baskets and rodents won't be able to reach them. Another method is to add something prickly to the planting hole, such as pine or spruce needles, or something with a strong deterrent smell. Some gardeners even suggest a bit of Vishnevsky's ointment. Additionally, some gardeners recommend dusting the bulbs with cayenne pepper or other hot chili powder before planting. No matter which method you choose, a little foresight in October will ensure you get to enjoy the delicate and charming blooms of crocuses come early spring. All right, let's quickly summarise. Peonies, tulips, daffodils, muscari and crocuses. These are our fantastic 5, ready to transform your autumn gardening into pure magic. By investing just a few hours this October, you're not simply planting flowers. You're making a smart investment in your garden's future beauty, saving precious spring planting time, and working in harmony with nature to give your plants the perfect head start. And here's the clever part. While most gardeners are winding down, thinking the season is over, you, armed with this knowledge, can pick up your shovel and create pure garden magic. Then next spring, as your garden bursts forth in a riot of colour and fragrance, and your neighbours are just getting started with their planting, you'll be able to simply relax with a cup of coffee, knowing that the true secret to gardening success isn't some mythical green thumb, but smart planning and a few small but incredibly valuable tricks like these. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more gardening secrets. Now, I have a question for you. What perennials are you planning to plant this autumn? Or perhaps you have a favourite October planted flower that I didn't mention. Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's build the most vibrant and blooming gardening community together.